Welcome to the second in our second series of In Conservation, the podcast of the Wildlife Trust for Beds, Cans and North Ants, exploring and deep diving into the conservation work we do in our three counties. I'm your host, Sophie Baker, and I'm also the editor of our members magazine, Local Wildlife. I love finding the positive stories from across the wide scope of our work and sharing them with our supporters. So thanks for listening, and for helping to spread the word too. For this episode, I took a trip just along the road from me to our Paxton Pits Environmental Education Centre on a busy school visit day. I chatted to Debbie McKenzie, centre manager there, as well as one of her staff members, Jenny, and a couple of the teachers who'd brought their pupils along. The centre has just celebrated its 15th anniversary, and the impact it's had over that time on children, families and volunteers alike makes for an inspirational and joyful episode that also features a couple of people who were interviewed on the celebration day towards the end of last year. Education and outreach is a vital part of the work we do, and you'll hear why it's so important and the long-term effects it can have, as well as what gives us hope based on the day-to-day interactions of the team. So yeah, we're here at Paxton Pits in a very busy-looking office.
Yes.
Which is just full of amazing creative things that are obviously used all the time to educate children. And you've had a busy day here today, haven't you, as well?
We have. We've had 41 pupils come from a primary school, not a little bit further away, year 2 pupils, so about age 6, 7.
Yes, she says very knowingly. I'm sure that came up a lot today. It's a real thing, isn't it?
Yeah. No idea what it means, but
I don't think they do. I think that's the thing about it. It doesn't mean anything. That's why it annoys adults, and that's why they do it.
probably. But the children we had today were amazing. They really were amazing.
They obviously had an amazing time. I mean, it's clear that they did the things that they were saying, and love coming here, and the children were obviously very engaged today as well.
So lovely to hear.
But it's not always the case, is it? I suppose. Do you get different mixes of people?
We always say that when the coach doors open, you don't know what's going to happen. So we have the same programme we've got different themes. So we've got some standard programmes, but they can come out very different according to the audience that you're working with and where they are. And we try to meet the audience where they're coming from. I have to say, we're really fortunate because we're teaching the children something that they just naturally want to do, they want to be part of. And that we are just so fortunate in that sense. So it's extremely rare for the children not to want to engage. All the things that we do here are hands-on, practical learning through doing. So we're not filling in worksheets, we're not writing. And it's all about making them achieve and enjoy being outside. We very, very rarely have a day where the odd pupil may be experiencing something that is making it very difficult for them to engage. It is vanishingly rare, and children and nature just naturally, and their teachers and their TAs as well, and parents that come, just naturally seem to settle into the environment. And you can see in some days that the pupils may have had very little experience when they get off the coach, and you can actually see over the course of 4.5 hours how that changes and how they become so much more confident in their natural environment, and so just come out of themselves and settle into being here. And that is really amazing. Sometimes they'll start the day where they will barely even want to touch the pondweed, and you can just see them. They leave about 2 inches taller, and then just see them develop during the course of the day. I just feel it's such a privilege. We're really lucky. If I could unscrew my eyes and show you some of this amazing sights that we've seen, and this is just a natural environment for children, isn't it? It's where they should be.
Yeah. And but in your experience, are they seeing it less and less in their kind of outside Paxton Pits life?
Definitely. So as I say, that you're sometimes coming across children that have had a little experience, and basically we're providing perhaps what 1-2 generations ago children would have gone out and done themselves without not in an organised way. So you're learning through doing, you're learning through play. we've written a risk assessment beforehand and we've checked all those things. But when the children are here, we want that to feel like you're on an adventure. You want them to feel like you're just playing out in the woods, really is a really big part of it. And we want them to feel that this is a place that makes them feel good. So it's a bit like I sometimes forget how good going on a walk makes me feel until I've been on a walk and I think, why don't I do that more often, however busy you are? But if a child can go out there and feel just... I came into nature conservation because I was massively so concerned about what's happening with the biodiversity crisis, but what I hadn't anticipated was the benefits to people and just watching how people respond to being out in nature. So the children know how good it feels to be outside and be in contact with wildlife and digging up worms.
Yeah. And it's not, I mean, today you've had year 2 pupils, but it's not just that age group that you work with, is it? You work across, and it's not just schools either, is it?
No, absolutely. So with schools, we're dealing with a broad range of people, but we also have family visitors that are coming here. We also have our nature journaling group. We work with secondary schools as well, and it's really important they get out. And in fact, there's one particularly secondary school that come out to us that recognise that their pupils probably missed these experiences that we would have delivered today. So we're catching those pupils up to have those practical hands-on experiences before they're trying to learn too much from maybe the biology syllabus. They need some basic outdoor experiences before they can start to really understand what they're being taught in biology.
Yeah. And especially if they're going to introduce a new GCSE, I mean, I don't know where that's up to in natural history.
Yeah.
Or hopefully they will. Hopefully
Yeah.
that'll come back through. But
It absolutely, there will definitely be such a demand for that. Young people are so keen. So we've got our youth rangers that meet here. We've got 16 youth rangers now in the group, and they're definitely amongst the youth is a real desire to take action for nature, to be out and connect with nature and to be with other like-minded young people as well. So we're working, and we've got a super group of nature journalists. So we're working with anyone really that wants to come out and take action, but really just start from enjoying nature, being outside, and then building through to taking action for nature. Yeah, within the site, our role is more focused on the young people, but we do work across the age group and our volunteers as well.
yes, yeah, of course.
We have just got the most amazing team. They're just enthusiastic and so dedicated. You've seen and our teaching team, who are paid members of staff, but just so dedicated to come out in like bonkers conditions like we've been teaching in today.
Yeah.
But everyone's so committed, to providing these experiences.
Yeah. You've mentioned the youth rangers. What sort of age range are they?
So we waited previously until they were at secondary school, and we found it was really important to have them joining from the last year of primary school. You capture them in the last year of primary school, you are able to keep the young people engaged before they go off and get involved in other things. Sometimes they do, and then sometimes they come back. So we're seeing quite a bit of that as well. So they are year 6 through to 18, and we've got some just about to head off to university, which is lovely. And we've had some come out the other side and become volunteers as well, which is really exciting.
That's so amazing. So there's so do you see that? Do you see individual children? I mean, without being, I don't know. You've been around here a long time.
I started when I was very young.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I meant to say.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. But you've just celebrated 15 years, haven't you, of the centre here?
Yeah. And we talked at the start, we thought, wouldn't it be amazing if we had young people that come to Little Bugs Club and stay? And we'll have some provision for them when they're at primary school, provision for them when they're at youth rangers, we'll have the family activities. Maybe they could become volunteers. And it always sounded such a long-term thing. And I remember when I very first started working in communities and education, I always thought, people always said it's such a long-term thing. Well, I'm not that old. And it feels like 5 minutes. We've got young people that have been through little bugs through to youth rangers, or they might have missed out watch and just got up to youth rangers, or they might disappear for a bit and go and play rugby and come back to do their DofE and then decide they like it and stay on. And then we've got a group of volunteers that are recent graduates as well. So we're just so thrilled to see these people. We just leave the door open, no pressure. We're here if you want us, come back or get involved when it suits you around what's going on in your life.
My name's Tiffany. I used to volunteer for Wildlife Watch at Paxton Pits. I did that about 12 years ago, started volunteering. I did it for about 5 years before getting married and having my own babies who now used to come along to Little Bugs Club and they come along to all the holiday sessions that Paxton Pits Environmental Education Centre run. Debbie is just the cornerstone of Paxton Pits and the Environmental Education Centre. I think she's very modest and doesn't give herself credit for the amount of hard work that she puts in. But this place would be nothing without her and all the other lovely volunteers. It's a really lovely family, and the fact that it's just continuing to grow, and you're seeing children that when I was volunteering were kind of 5 years old and they're still coming back when they're 17, 18 is just testament, I think, to the kind of family atmosphere that Debbie's created here, which is just so lovely.
My name is Gareth and I've been volunteering at Paxton Pits Education Centre for quite a few years now, almost since it was actually first set up. So that's 15 years. In volunteering in various different capacities. So anything from managing the grounds, helping out with the building, to doing the education and to interacting with families during the family events and things that we have running here for people. I think one of the great things about this is actually getting children out into nature, getting them outside from home or from wherever and getting them in to explore and take an interest in nature and take an interest in their local environment, looking to see what they can do, and also giving people an insight into how you can create habitats for nature to take home and to create in your own local environment. I mean, Debbie's been amazing. The amount of time and effort that Debbie puts into working at Paxton Pits is just immense. The place is just really buzzing. It's got this atmosphere about it, and I think that atmosphere is created by the inspiration that Debbie brings to the centre and her energy and her enthusiasm, and it's really infectious against all the volunteers that work here. People wouldn't volunteer time and time again if it wasn't a really happy environment to work in, and an inspiring environment. So, a lot of effort and a lot of reward.
It's so lovely to see the volunteers all getting on with it. Is that there's such a lovely atmosphere, getting on with each other and seeing each other, and there's these people that draw other people in. Yeah, we feel really fortunate that they are the community. And one of the things that Sharon, who runs our nature journaling, says is that she facilitates the sessions, but those people that are attending are also a real key part of the visitor experience. And we just feel that is just, we couldn't ask for more, really, could we? It's about the people, that it's all about them, isn't it, really, that are visitors. It's all about the visitors, and they inspire us so much. It's like an echo. So you do something, and the night before you might think, they might not like it. They might not want to come. They might never come back. And then they come, and they just come trooping in the door. The children's faces as they come through the door, they know where they're coming, and they're like trooping. They do the activities, and then they just get immersed. They get stuck in. It was like half term. We gave people pieces of plastic pipe so they could build hibernaculums. We got lots of plastic pipe, all prepared by a wonderful company that was so helpful. We didn't expect that they would actually be prepared to take pipe home. And they were like, yeah, we'll build one of these in our gardens. And we were just like, my gosh, that's surpassed our expectations. I don't think there was anyone who didn't take any pipe home. So yeah,
Yeah, it's amazing, eh? But you do those sorts of things all the time, don't you? I mean, I've, hedgehog footprint tunnels, ponds.
and there's some of these lovely things. So our volunteers get involved doing the research. So we'll say, oh, it'll be really good. We've been inspired by Hedgehog Street, and then we'll go off and research, and the ideas will all go quite far out there. See what we want to do. Then we think we could spend a whole year on this theme, and then somehow we're like, oh my gosh, it's in a week's time. We need to draw it all back in quickly and actually make it into a session. So we quickly do that. And yeah, yeah, so the volunteers are amazing, getting involved in the research, or something will happen in the news, or our colleagues might make us aware of something. So if anyone's ever got something that they feel passionate about communicating to the public, we think of ourselves as a conduit. We're trying to share, the what people can do. People really definitely, it's so heartening, want to make a difference. They definitely are looking for how they can help with the biodiversity and the climate crisis. And we are so lucky to be on the positive end of trying to help people take action. And the stories that they tell us that they go away and do, and hearing those stories, you sort of forget. You're like, okay, that we've delivered that event. We now need to focus on this. And we've got a deadline coming up, and then someone will come back or will bring something back, and you'll think, of course, the experience hopefully carries on beyond the visit here. And that's, I think, down to the wonderful visitors as well and their enthusiasm. So yeah, this place is really inspired by those people that walk through the door.
Yes, inspired by, but also inspires them. And I mean, I think that's the thing. It's community building, not just for the people, although that is the vital thing. And hopefully they will go on to then educate other people and do degrees in things so that they can kind of continue that knowledge and take that knowledge away with them. But also community building for the wildlife, because if they're going away building those ponds, putting holes in their fences, the hedgehogs, doing that thing, I mean, it
can be so rewarding for a person to do something, can't it? And then see a positive impact back from that, can't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And in your own local place, because I think it's so easy for all of these problems and issues that we all see with the world, and they are there and there's no denying them, but they seem so abstract. Everyone talks about the biodiversity crisis is a global crisis, and so you feel like so small in that. But what I possibly
do is so complex. How do I make a contribution? And that is, just something small, planting some wildflower seeds. Planting activities are so popular here. Building activities, practical activities where you're taking action practically for wildlife and seeing the impact of your work.
Because global change can only happen if local change happens.
Definitely.
So it totally relies on people being inspired and taking that knowledge away and that information and actually making changes, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And we're just seeing that over time there's such a feeling of people really wanting to do that. It's so heartening. They are the solution. So I remember my first job was working on a nature reserve where the visitors were damaging the site. So my job was to run around after the schools and try and stop them doing things that were impacting negatively the site, and try and tell them that they need to, take care of wildlife and be aware of this site and how important it is. And one of the things we realised pretty quickly is that we really need to encourage people. We need to make this really positive. We need to get them on board. And over time, you can just see, I just feel so completely different. Those people are 1,000% the solution. They really are. And they really, really want to help. It's amazing. There are obviously challenges, but on the whole, it's a very positive picture, I feel.
Yeah, it's good.
It's harnessing that. How do we harness that and help those people to take the actions, the small actions that can make a big difference?
Yeah, collectively and also personally, because you might take one small action which leads to another, which leads to another. But even if you only ever do that one small action, you're still one small action, hopefully in a sea of other small actions. So it's kind of, and we need everybody, as many people as possible, to be on board in whatever way they can.
And that is such a key point, Sophie. I think that's so important. So like with the school group today, we never want it to feel like, we're appealing to that certain pupils is got to be accessible for everybody. Everybody needs to be able to make a contribution and be involved in this. So we really try and meet people wherever they are.
So my name is Sammy Evans and I am a primary school teacher at Waterbeach Community Primary School, and we have brought our Year 2 children here today for a fantastic day out. We have been learning all about habitats and mini beasts as part of our science topic, and yeah, this is the perfect place to bring them.
What do you find the most inspirational about coming here?
Well, we think the people that run the place, Debbie, everybody is amazing. They make it a really engaging day out for the children. The children are getting hands-on experience with things that we can't offer them in school. They've had a whale of a time this morning in the bird hide using binoculars, so things that I think perhaps we might take for granted, everyday things. The children are getting amazing practical hands-on experience and just having the best time. And yeah, just lots of experiences that we perhaps can't offer them at primary school.
Yeah, and I guess that's the value of school visits.
Oh, hugely, hugely, yes. Hands-on experience and putting into practice all the things that we learn in a classroom, seeing it for real in a beautiful place like Paxton Pits. For us, yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Have you noticed any changes in recent years in your teaching experience of kind of children's experience of or reaction to nature? Is that something you've noticed at all?
I think, yes. I think so. We have a forest school area at our school, and I think historically, I think children perhaps were outside more, so they were happier to touch things and to feel things. I think we've definitely noticed at school that children perhaps aren't having as many experiences outdoors, and even when we take some of our children over to forest school, they can be a little bit more apprehensive. I think we perhaps nowadays take for granted that children go outside lots, and I don't think lots of them do. A lot of what they do, a lot of their hobbies are indoor activities. So yeah, I think bring them outside, being at one with nature for lots of them is amazing. For some of them, we know it's their first experience, which is quite sad. So great that we can give them that opportunity.
What gives you the greatest hope for the future, like in terms of the children, their experiences of nature? What is it that gives you hope?
I think so often nowadays that we sometimes forget the simple things, and I think the children being able to have a little plastic pot and collect some bugs and having the time to do that and the time for them to show an adult, those little things for me, I think they are so crucial to children's upbringing, their mental health, their happiness, their engagement. And I think, coming somewhere like this gives all children that opportunity. And I think, it's amazing what nature can do. The children are just really happy, and even watching them doing their mini beast hunting, every child was engaged, everybody's joining in, they're happy, they're wanting to show us things. I think, it's them having that time just to be outside, be at one with nature.
My name is Sarah Grime. I'm a primary school teacher. I teach Year 2, and we're at Paxton Pits because our science topic is all about living things and their habitats. So we're learning about all of the creatures on the Great Ouse Valley and coming to find an otter and who else lives in his habitat and look at all the wonderful creatures that live in our local environment. Yeah, fantastic. And have you been to Paxton before? This is my 3rd year doing this trip. Yes, okay. And what do you find the best thing or the most inspirational thing about coming here? Like, what do you see here that
I think
brings
it's
you
nice
back?
for the children to kind of see it in their local environment, because it's one thing kind of learning about it on a screen, or like we have forest school and we go to the forest, but it's a bit different seeing it kind of more wild, more in nature. And the kind of program that they run here is absolutely fantastic. It fits so well with our science learning. And the children are just absolutely fascinated by it. They send us like a little story that we read beforehand about the otter travelling around the river and getting letters from people. We don't know who they're from, so we're going to go and visit and see. So the programme itself is run really nicely. It's a nice environment for the children as well. It's not kind of too open, but open enough that they can have a real good explore.
And yeah, and Debbie and her team are absolutely incredible as well. They keep us coming back year after year.
You've been coming here for a while now. So are there any particular experiences with children? Obviously not singling names or kind of individuals out, but are there any particular experiences you can talk about that really stand out in terms of it making a difference to someone or?
I think it's really nice being able to do like the pond dipping in the raised ponds. I think that's absolutely fantastic. So we've been to like places in the past where the ponds are quite low down and the children can't really get stuck into it. And the children who don't have access, they can't go to like Wimpole Hall or Wandlebury. They can't go there with their parents. They don't have those experiences outside of school. So it's nice for us to be able to provide those experiences. And coming here with the raised ponds, because they don't have to lean over as much, they can get more stuck into it without the fear of like accidentally falling in. And you can just see some children who've never experienced it before being able to see these things that they never thought they'd be able to see in real life.
Yeah. And do you see that impact back at school as well? Does it kind of?
Oh, definitely. We do a whole kind of series of, we link this to our English. So we do a recount writing and we write all about our day at Paxton Pits and how amazing it was, hopefully using an exclamation sentence. And they talk about it for years afterwards. I have some children from 2 years ago who come up to me and they say, "Oh, are you doing the trip soon?" And I say yes, and they're like, "Oh, we loved Paxton Pits."
Oh, that's amazing. That's so nice to hear. What's the value of school visits themselves? I mean, how?
Oh, they're so instrumental. We could like I said, like we could not be able to provide this experience at school, and for those children, especially kind of in a climate where people are working a lot more, kind of there's less family time. It's more expensive to go to some places. It's really valuable to be able to provide these experiences for children who might not otherwise be able to experience them. And then it's something that we can do as a community, like a school community together, a class community. It's something that's an experience we've all had, we can all talk about, we can all kind of enjoy together. And I think that's really important.
Yeah. What gives you the greatest hope for the future in relation to the children that you work with?
They seem so enthusiastic about nature. When we're doing the pond dipping, they were being so careful with the creatures. They were listening really intently. They're so gentle. I think they have really kind of developed a really good respect for nature, and they're really good at like even just like finding rubbish on the floor. I could see a child picking up a bit of rubbish and then handing it to an adult, like completely unprompted. They've got such a good respect for nature, and I think that gives us like really high hopes for the future, that they're hopefully going to kind of keep growing up and keep caring about the environment, keep thinking about kind of protecting the environment. And hopefully that will be a thing that they kind of pass on as they grow up.
Amazing. Do you have sort of a top few highlights from the last 15 years? What stands out to you? I mean, I know that's an impossible question, isn't it? Because you must have seen so many amazing things happen, but...
Oh, it was a very exciting day when the building arrived. It was very, very exciting because we didn't ever imagine that we really would have a building here, because the centre, the education service started 18 years ago out the back of a minibus when the visitor centre was smaller. And Jim, the senior ranger at the time, was so kind. He used to allow us, it was like going on holiday, packing up the equipment for 40 children to deliver a session at Paxton Pits. We used to bring everything over from our office, unpack it all into the visitor centre. I remember my other half saying to me, "This really isn't sustainable, do we?" And we were like, "I know, but we just keep going." And then to have a building as a base has just transformed everything, because you're able to become like a hub, and people can come and find you, and if they want to volunteer they can get involved. And that day was very, very exciting, and it was craned in 4 sections, so it just didn't feel real. Yeah, that was very, very exciting. And then the adventures really took off. There's just been so many like amazing. I feel so privileged to have seen. I just wish I could play back some of the situations. For example, we had a young child come to site, and they were pointing out a bee on a tarpaulin, and it was a solitary bee. And they said, "Please stand back, everyone." And the teacher came up to us and said, "You do know the child is elected mute. They don't speak. They didn't speak to the nursery teachers at all, and they've only just started speaking to us a few weeks ago. But they told with their own voice the other children to step away from the solitary bee And also they spoke during the visit. They spoke to us. They just chatted away. I had no idea. There's so many special moments watching people see for the first time, and that can be whether they're 7 or whether they're 70, see a dragonfly emerge from one of the raised ponds. I always think it's amazing to see the wildlife, and then something that is even more amazing is when you watch someone else see something amazing, and just you see that experience in something else is really magical. Just those special moments when, or you've heard before a visit that a child might not be able to cope with the day. So we deal with lots of pupils, so many additional needs. But actually they've got here, and in this environment, they have flourished, and we've not been able to see that they're at, we wouldn't know away from the classroom that they were dealing with challenges. So watching that, and just, wonderful moments, even at the weekend. So wonderful, one of our regular families that come in, the mum telling me that she is keen to learn hedge laying now, and that she's planted up quite a few shrubs and trees, and she's ready to, in a few years, lay that hedge. And you just think, this was so great. I think that's really exciting, isn't it, when you hear someone wanting to go out and take action in such a way, or learn a new skill. Yeah, and just see that come to life, and people develop confidence and tell you of their wildlife experiences. Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint exact moment. The whole thing is, we feel very lucky. I wish we could somehow share what we see. It's hard to explain what happens. I always feel like, and this sounds really crazy, but like after today, so beforehand you're writing the risk assessments, you're doing the site checks, you're looking at the weather forecast. It could be 34 degrees, it could be gale force winds, it could be lashing it down with rain. It is absolutely bonkers. And the day before the school come, you think, oh my. And then a school visit, or a family visit, or the youth rangers, at the end of it, you get such a sense of satisfaction, and you think whatever you've had to go through to deliver that is all 100% worth it. 120%, whatever crazy obstacles that sometimes, and things do happen, like the most challenging things can happen, but 100% keep going, because the visitors make it all worthwhile.
Yeah.
I'm Jenny Taylor, and I love my job title. I am a casual wild learning officer. So I'm both casual and wild. And I come to Paxton Pits and work with Debbie. I work with school trips who come for the day and experience a variety of activities. I work with families, and we sort of have a theme through a half term or a holiday, and different age groups, and the youth rangers as well. I link in with doing nature journaling and other things.
Yes, the wide range of activities that go on here at Paxton. Yes. And do you have a background in this sort of area? Is that where you started?
I've worked in schools. That was sort of my career, mostly early years and sort of lower primary. I sort of developed to doing forest school. So I would do sort of classroom activities, but then we would go out to the woods and lots of outdoor activities. And I enjoyed every area of my job, but I do have to say forest school and the outdoor learning was very definitely, basically it's my childhood. I grew up in the country on a farm, and I'm delivering to today's children what I used to do as a child myself, that perhaps they don't have the opportunities to do nowadays.
Yeah.
So,
and do you find there's children are having less opportunities? I mean, is that your experience of talking to them and seeing how they interact with wildlife?
it is, yes. When you're bug hunting, sometimes their reactions, oh, are you going to touch that? And the pond dipping, when we're encouraging them to gently swash the weed and splosh it back in, now have a look, and they don't want to perhaps touch the weed. They seem not sterilised, that's too strong a word, but everybody, in my eyes, is too quick nowadays to keep things clean. and to not get out and explore fully and enjoy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the sensory experience of mud play.
Yes. Yes.
And what is it that you've been up to today? Because it's been a busy day here today, hasn't it?
It has been a busy day. We've had a lot of children today from Waterbeach School, and we've talked about the Ouse Valley. It's based on a story called Tales of the Ouse Valley, and Otter is the main character, and he has other friends, kingfisher, heron, there's a swan, a willow tree, a cormorant, lots of other animals. And so we go round the reserve finding out about the other animals, where they live. They have an opportunity to make an Ouse Valley crown, so they get to choose things to stick on their crown, take back to remember their day. They find out through pond dipping how dragonfly lays his eggs, and the dragonfly nymph grows, changes, and they've made their own ponds. They've built otter holts. They've been bird watching. They have just had an activity-packed day that they have loved.
Yeah, that sounds like so many activities to pack in, isn't it? It really is. Yes. Yeah. What do you find the most inspirational thing about working here at Paxton?
It's the change in the children from arriving at the beginning of the day to going home and through the day, watching that gradual. You can see children, some of them know what they're going to experience. Some have perhaps been told but don't know what it will feel like or what it will actually be like. And you almost see them relaxing, and they're sort of almost shoulders lowering. A lovely bit is when you get to the bird hide and you say, now we've got to be really quiet and we'll tiptoe up, we'll have binoculars. And this calm just descends, and they're just so absorbed in looking and spotting everything and telling each other what they've seen. And when they go, you get children arriving, it'll be boring. We won't learn anything because we're not at school. They leave saying, wow, I've learnt so much. It really is the change in them over the day.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think it is about Paxton Pits in particular that makes these things work so well? Or is there something about Paxton Pits in particular?
There is. There's the variety of habitats here that we can go to, the different creatures. I mean, the centre here has been brilliantly set up. It's got everything we need to sort of use. And yeah, it just provides such a safe as well. Debbie and I do sort of prep everywhere before the school comes in and check everywhere is okay. But no, it really provides such different habitats. We've got the meadow, we've got the bird lake. It's
yeah, and the centre itself, for people that don't know it, it's a fenced-in outdoor area as well, but it's quite a large outdoor area.
A very large outdoor area that's been specifically landscaped to sort of have the different areas for the activities. So we've got the raised ponds that are always one of the favourite activities, the pond dipping. We do fossil digging with the children. We've got an ichthyosaur.
Yes.
And
peering at us over your shoulder, yes, in the office here.
And we have a mammoth tooth that we can show the children. And the fossils have all been found at Paxton Pits in the gravel work.
Yeah.
So, yes,
Amazing.
It is.
Yeah. And what is it that gives you the greatest hope for the future from your work here?
It's having the children here and teaching them in very subtle ways. You say you're teaching, but it's not talk and chalk. It's very hands-on experience, and it's giving them the knowledge of the habitats needed so that they can hopefully take that forward with them and know what we need to provide. And Debbie and I, we chat throughout lunchtime when we meet up, about how the morning's going, what's happened, and again at the end of the day. And today she said what a fabulous lot these children were. And she said, now, if they were in charge in 20 years' time, and that's really what you're thinking about. You're trying to set that in their minds, what we need to be doing in the environment to keep things stable.
Yeah. And it is so important that every child gets access to that for that exact reason, isn't it? Because the more that care, the more that know.
Yes. One of the programs we do, we time travel and we go back to when the nature reserve first opened, and we say, and they had an open day and they invited everybody to come. Do you think that's a good idea, getting everybody to come to the nature reserve where all the animals are? Yes, no, it's not a good idea. You know, you need to leave the creatures, and then you turn it around and say, yes, but if you show people, that's how we're going to get people to get involved and help and look after the environment, the habitats and the creatures.
Is there a hope for the future that you've got for the centre? Like what do you see what do you hope will happen over the next 5 years?
This is really interesting, and some other people ask me this, and I think it's amazing to think about all the things you can do, and we're really inspired by the visitors. So it's usually something that watching the visitors and looking at change over time, you start to think, we need to start now to cater for this group because we're seeing more of these people. And there's a couple of ideas of things that we've seen that we thought, actually, now those people have reached this stage, we need to meet them where they are and offer them this type of experience. But I think one of the big things, which is going to sound really, really boring, is when you set something up and it's all shiny and new, it is more easy than when you've been delivering it for 15 years. Things now start to need repairing and things to need replacing, or taking it through something like COVID, which, I mean, I was just thinking, how are we going to get through this and come out the other side? Do you know what I mean? So it is taking it through and maintaining and building and sustaining is a huge thing. And then looking at where you're thinking, that audience has changed now. Maybe they're not so mobile. So we need to then add on opportunities for them where they are. Yeah.
So really just sort of reading
the visitors and reacting to, they so inspire us. So, babies, we were like, oh my gosh, what would it be to be a mum with a newborn baby at home during COVID? We have to, our babies needs to happen now. So it's like, let's do that. And then after a while, there were other groups and it wasn't necessary for us to deliver in that way anymore. So we adapted and changed and focused our energies on something else.
Yeah, so that was a group where women could, or men.
Yeah, we did have some dads, didn't we?
Yeah, so parents could come and just go on a walk with their baby in a carrier or the pram, so not really for the babies, although, but you're right, indirectly for the babies.
Yeah.
But yes, that was what that was. Yeah.
And I really feel so proud of the Wildlife Trust. I feel so grateful to work for them, because one of the most spectacular, amazing things I think is you have the opportunity to be inspired by what's happening in your town or in your village and then respond to it. And because you can do it relatively quickly, you're not waiting for a big national plan and have to be delivering the same as everyone ubiquitously across an area. You can just go, something's developing here. There's a need here. Something's happening. We can quickly implement this. We're so fortunate. And I think the Wildlife Trust at Bedcams Northants are incredible for that. That is such a huge strength, I think, to be able to meet the needs of our community when, in real time, quickly.
COVID was a kind of strong indication of that, wasn't it? But it happens all the time, doesn't it? And not outside of COVID. I mean, it's, sort of responding to other things too. It's maybe not as visible and maybe not as dramatic.
They were spot on, Sophie. So, for example, big increase in the additional needs in pupils in schools. We literally, over the course of a weekend, needed to change our school programme. We were like, there's something huge going on. And what we think it was, looking back, was the rise of touchscreens and iPads. And suddenly the children coming in had experienced iPads. So their concentration, we would check this with schools, and this is just anecdotal, but we were thinking, no, what we delivered in previous years isn't going to work on Monday. So we're going to adapt quickly, and because we can. So we feel so fortunate to work for the Wildlife Trust and have the opportunity to be that responsive to our local communities across BCN as well. So dependent on what's happening in our local towns, we can deliver what's needed.
Yeah. And you do have a huge program of events, like you say, across lots of different sort of stages of life, don't you? In terms of, obviously concentrating on the children, sort of pre-18, I suppose, because of where you're located. But I mean, there's also a lot of links with the community, aren't there? People go out over to Wintringham, which is a huge new housing development on the other side of St Neots.
And you've hit the nail on the head, though. We were looking into our community, seeing huge development happening. And we've worked with Urban and Civic because we're thinking we need to reach out into that community. So we drove around that community and walked around that community and tried to get a feel for what was going on there. What might it be like to be moving into this area? And how do we help these people access wildlife? And they've got blank canvas gardens that are blank canvases. What do we encourage them to do? What simple steps can they take? So, and then involving our youths as well, who were so amazing and so proud to share their knowledge with the new residents of Wheatrium.
Yeah, so they went and did sort of pond dipping every day.
Yeah, sharing their pond dipping knowledge because they're amazing.
Yeah.
And we did hedgehogs, how to encourage hedgehogs into their garden. So yeah, the youths we sort of facilitated, but it was the youths that delivered that to the public.
Yeah. What an opportunity! What an amazing thing for people to have the opportunity to do that, though, as well. To be given that kind of agency, because they've also done work with the town council, haven't they, in St Neots?
Yes, and this was so wonderful. So we were thinking about, wouldn't it be really great if we did a Christmas tree, all about our new rewilded site, Strawberry Hill. So we took this to our youths and they were like, no, we don't think this is a good idea at all. So what we would like to do instead, we think we need to do a trail around the town. If you want people, we sat for 2 hours discussing this with these most amazing young people. And they said, no, we need to reach a different audience. We need it to be in the town. Maybe people won't visit the Christmas tree festival, and we don't want to do the wildlife that everyone knows about. We want to do the hidden wildlife of these valleys, so things like the spined loach. So we left that meeting going, oh my gosh, we need to go and speak to the town council now. We were their reasoning and their arguments for doing what we did was absolutely amazing. They're just so brilliant, and we had such lovely feedback from Sweet Paradise when they picked up the leaflets. We were so proud of them. I was so proud. They were brilliant. We were like, right, whatever you need, we will do this. Yeah, they're incredible. They're going to be running this place. Yeah. He hopes.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that what gives you hope?
That would be amazing. They'd be brilliant. Amazing. Be brilliant.
Yeah, it's hard in the face of everything, like you're saying, biodiversity crisis, climate crisis. I say this a lot in the podcast. So yeah, so people being faced with it in our jobs, in our day to day, can be very difficult. Yes. And so finding the positives is really important, not just for us, but also for the people that we're working with.
Definitely.
And is that where you find the hope?
Oh my goodness me! In all people, I think in all people, and the young people, that has really, really dramatically increased, and I think their voice, cannot be ignored. It's so fantastic, isn't it? Their passion and their knowledge as well is just amazing. Yeah, I'm not worried. It's in good hands. It's in good hands. It is, and just this, how things so, I don't want to say this, but I started in nature conservation 30 years ago, so when I was like 5. and at that time, it wasn't so mainstream. I have to be really honest, where now it is completely different, and in terms of the general public and the community and young people, their drive to make a difference has changed unrecognisably during that time. And has to give you hope, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if anyone's listening to this and they're wondering how can they get involved, what either in their local environment or here specifically?
Yeah.
What would be your top tips?
Yeah, like everyone can absolutely be involved and make a difference. I mean, we're really lucky. We've got a lovely education and communities and education team across Beds, Cams and Northants. So wherever you're listening to this from, my colleagues will be tapped into your local area and providing opportunities for you to get involved on your doorstep, which is really exciting. Wherever you are, getting involved with the Wildlife Trust for BCN. They are honestly absolutely incredible. And I can tell you that from the inside, that really are an incredible organisation. We're grassroots, and it's people like the listeners that are the ones that are driving the change, really, aren't they? And making an impact for wildlife. Yeah, and we need all of you. We really do need all of you.
Yes, we really do.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Thank you. We like talking. Thank you for coming into the absolute craziness and not batting an eyelid.
Thank you so much to Debbie, Tiffany, Gareth, Sammy, Sarah and Jenny for their dedication and enthusiasm, and for agreeing to be a part of this episode. I hope you found it as inspirational as I did to hear from the people at the front line of environmental education, and to find out just how vital it is to a childhood that feels increasingly impoverished in relation to exposure to nature. The work of the Wildlife Trust is wide-ranging, and we always need more support. Whether you can consider becoming a member, volunteering or donating to our Wilder Future Fund, you can be sure that the support is helping us to achieve great things for our local environments and the communities that are intrinsic to them. For more information about this episode and how you can help, visit our website at wildlifebcn.org/podcast. Huge thanks to James Williams and Jared Wentwick for the podcast music, and to Holly Wilkinson for additional recording for this episode. And a ginormous thanks to you, too, for listening all the way to the end. Cheerio!